I went back and listened to your generational spirits conference today, and I was listening to you. You basically start at the lost generation, and you talk about how it all started with like this effeminacy that kind of crept in, where um, the earlier generations would suffer but never talk about it. And then as you got on, then you'd start getting the later generations would then nonstop be complaining about it. And by the time you get to the millennials, it's narcissism that's crept in.
Again.
And this talk you gave like 7 years ago, and now that we've had a little bit of time to see Gen Z play out, do you have any other insights about Gen Z? I know you made a very, very accurate prediction towards the end of that. And listening to it this morning, it was like 7 years ago. I was like, wow, that kind of came to fruition, didn't it?
Yeah, the prediction I said is that the sixth generation, which is actually from the lost generation, the sixth generation, which is Gen Z, would actually be involved in the occult. So what we're seeing now among that generation is a bifurcation of that generation, a pretty serious bifurcation, so that you see people in that generation. There's a percentage of them that are actually involved in the occult.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, even the Satanists have said that their recruiting efforts in that generation is like they have like a 15-fold increase in the number of people coming in from that generation than they did in the past, something to that effect. But then the other part of that is people realizing, okay, wait a minute, this is all evil. I mean, because if people act according to natural virtue, they see this evil stuff happening. They're like, that's not right. And then we're seeing, which I didn't really necessarily see, which is because I just saw that given way the generations were declining, that the occult activity was going to be the part. They're going to be pagans, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually worshiping demons, etc., which which a large percentage of them are. And then the other percentage, though, is then now converting to Christianity or trying to live a Catholic or a Christian faith. And so that bifurcation is something I didn't see, but I did see the first part of the occult activity.
It's like it's basically like religion was inevitable, and they tried to push this materialist worldview for so long, and now we're actually seeing the ends of that, which there is no such thing as just a materialist worldview. Like the Enlightenment is falling apart, right. And you're seeing the younger generation is going for like some kind of spirituality, whether that's these pagan things, which is why they're always trying to like make like trans sacred. You see, they put halos around George Floyd and stuff
right.
like that. Like it's like this instinct. And even what you're seeing happen with Charlie Kirk, where you're seeing how intuitive Catholicism is. Like they want to put his image on coins, and they want to venerate him as we would a Catholic saint, but they have no category for it almost. And then but then you also have the other side of that, which is some of the younger generation is not just going for Christianity in general. They're going for traditional forms of Christianity, right? They want something transcendent. So they are going to orthodoxy, or they're going to traditional Catholicism. And you kind of have a hierarchy in place right now from that time period you're talking about before, the 70s and the 80s. And they're so out of sync with what's going on in the culture right now that they can't see these kids want something the culture can't offer them. Like they're all so desensitized from their stupid screens and the digital world. So they want to go find something transcendent. And the hierarchy is just trying to take that out. I don't understand what their actual motivations could possibly be.
Well, actually, for me, the hierarchy is there's two components to it. The first is many of the people, not all of them, but many of the people in the hierarchy were from the very generation and part of the very generation that said, that rebelled against authority. They just categorically, they didn't follow liturgical laws. They didn't follow their bishops. They didn't do everything. They rejected. They were dissenting on everything. And then when they got into positions of power, now they're just dictatorial. But the point is that that was the generation that did that. And then what did they do? That's what they taught the younger generation. And then now they're mystified that the younger generation is like, well, I don't want to listen to you then. I don't have to listen to you, even though you're the authority. I don't have to listen to you. I'm going to go do my own thing. So they created this very problem that they actually had done. But the other side of it, I think, too, has to do with the fact that they can't understand, because the boomer generation, which we were kind of talking about before, but the boomer generation is their generational spirit is indocility through intemperance. And so as a result of that, they're very much mired down in this world. And so when they see a younger generation not wanting a liturgy that doesn't give them that, that it doesn't indulge their appetites or doesn't appeal to them or doesn't, it doesn't speak to them per se. They just want to worship God or what have you. They don't quite actually understand that. And I think the other part of it is too, is that then this is the third part, I should say. The natural law, St. Thomas says, that the natural law commands all of the virtues. Now, that basically means that the natural law envisions and encompasses all the virtues. So one of the virtues is the virtue of justice, by which we render someone their due. And the sub-virtue to that is the virtue of religion in relationship to God. These kids still have an inclination to religion. This is why this is why these people with malformed consciences are putting the halos on. But on the other hand, the people that are trying to actually truly seek the good, that's why they're actually going to something that will fulfill that inclination of the natural law. And what they're finding is that what was ushered in by the generations before us, who basically wanted to throw off everything that was traditional and all of that, they wanted to get rid of it. But the younger kids, they never had it. They never had that fulfillment. So now they're seeking it.